I want to thank you guys again for commenting on my YouTube short that I had put out about this thing. Well, good morning everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Glad you guys could join me today. It's gorgeous. But what we have today is a 1999 Chevrolet 1500. It has the 5.3 in it, and it has a crank no start. Little backstory on this truck. Customer stated that he's had issues with the thing not wanting to crank, so he put a new battery in it. Put a new battery in it to begin with. Then that didn't fix it, so he put a new starter in it. Now it cranks, but has no start. So feel free to join me, and we'll see if we can get this thing figured out. Contact. All right, so first thing we want to do, like always, verify the customer's concern. I'm going to turn this key on, and let's see if we hear a fuel pump. We do not hear a fuel pump. Let's see what happens when I try to crank it. Nothing. Ooh. Massively cracked windshield. Okay. Oh, by the way, how many miles? 248,741 miles on the odometer. Alright, so first thing, I need to get something to open that hood. I don't think I can grab a hold of that thing with my finger. Ooh! Nope. Alright, I'm going to have to get myself my pliers. I normally carry my pliers, but today I don't have it with me, of course. So to give a little bit of an update, this past week I have been really slow at uploading videos. And I do apologize if you guys were looking forward to some videos. I apologize for that. I've been trying to keep my head above water this past week, so you know, it's been a little hectic. Got my pliers. So gotta do what I gotta do to keep my customers happy. So I haven't been recording a lot. It's a new day, new week, so why don't we start recording again? So figured this one might be a good one to record. I'm assuming, well, one should never assume, but I'm leaning towards a possible fuel pump issue, whether that's a bad fuel pump or it has a blown fuse or a bad relay. One doesn't really know. Okay, so we have, I believe this is the fuel pump fuse. So let's pull that one out. And I'm gonna, let's see here. Really need just see if anything happens. Sometimes we can get a nope, nothing. Well, here, let's just check our fuse. We may have a wiring problem. This should be interesting. Stay tuned. All right, so we're on this truck and I pulled it into the shop. We've actually got 2 dead trucks in the shop right now. But hey, that's what we're here for. Anyway, we have verified that this truck does crank, but no start. Now, the customer stated that this thing was working just fine until he replaced the starter and the battery. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure that our battery posts are tight, which that one's not quite tight. I don't think that's going to be the issue, but we just want to make sure that that's not going to be a problem down the road. So let's take a look here. Get an 8mm. We'll tighten this one down. Make it tight. Okay, so that's tight. One of the things I put up a YouTube short, and several guys mentioned about it's pretty easy to damage the crank sensor wiring when you're doing a starter. So we anyway want to look at everything, but specifically let's go in underneath and look at the starter wiring, make sure that there's nothing that got damaged there before we do anything else. One of the guys meant, and I have not verified this yet, but somebody mentioned that the crank sensor and the fuel pump are both tied in together. So might be, might not be, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that, but let's get in underneath there. Let's check this out. There is this ground here. Yep, that's still good. Let's just get this thing up in the air and let's verify that nothing got damaged underneath, and then we'll start getting a printout of the wiring diagram and start testing wiring if we can't find anything obvious. But first thing we want to do, like we should on every vehicle, is do a visual inspection of everything. So let's get this thing up in the air. The rack is set. We're going up. All right, so we've got some light on the subject. Let's just check all the wiring. There's a little piece missing there that it really should have. It's supposed to be like a drain to allow water and moisture to come out of there, but not stay in, or not get caught up in the starter itself. So technically should have that installed, but I don't have one of those. Maybe the customer has one. Okay, looking here, doing a little once over here, make sure that we don't have anything that we can see that's obvious. Looking for some wiring here that might have gotten damaged, and we're looking at our crank sensor in behind the starter there. We're going to need to get my, I'm looking and not showing you guys. Oh, there it is. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but that crank sensor is not plugged in correctly. So we're going to need to take this starter back out of here, and let's see what it's going to take to fix that. So to get that starter out, we're going to have to take those two bolts out, unhook the battery, and drop that starter out of there, and then we'll get that wiring checked out. So I'll get that done off camera. It's nothing complicated to get that out, and I'll be back. All right, we've got this starter out from underneath here, and you guys see a problem there? Hang on. Clean the lens. You guys see a problem there? I do. We've got two wires pulled out of the connector there. So, yeah. Thanks for the comments there on the YouTube short. I don't know who to give the credit to, but there was about 3 of you guys that commented on that. and said that I should check that. Here we go. All right, let me get a connector coming, because I don't have a way of well, I mean, I would have a way of depinning that, but I don't have new pins here. So let's see if we can get a connector coming, and then I'm gonna get the wiring diagram, figure out which wire goes where, and we'll get this thing put back together and it should run. All right, so as you can see, I've got my connector pin out here, and for the crankshaft position sensor, CKP, also known as CKP, crankshaft position sensor, and we can see that for the dark blue and white, we need to be in A, which is that one. B is the center one, C is this one. So it should be very simple. Make sure that our wiring, the colors match up here. So we have dark blue, blue white, yep, and we have yellow and black, yep, and light green, and we have all those colors. So I'm gonna get you guys set up here. We're gonna repair this wiring, and I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so I've got the connector. Let's make sure that's the same thing. And it is, and as is custom with most of these aftermarket connectors, and even actually the GM connectors oftentimes will have it too, where they're just all white. No big deal, doesn't really matter. And this is the part number for this connector. This is a CarQuest brand. Not saying it's better than anything else, but it's what I had available. So let's get these things cut off of here, and we'll start peeling this back and get this thing repaired. Actually, we may not have to peel that back. I think we'll be fine. We'll just yeah, we'll work around that. We're going to lengthen it just a little bit. It doesn't have to be much longer, but we'll lengthen it just a little bit, make everything a little easier. All right, let's get this thing cut off of here, just like that. Let's trim up these ends here just a little bit. We'll yeah, why don't we start with the green one here? Strip back just a little bit, doesn't need a lot. And there's several different styles of connectors you can use. I like to, personally, I'd rather use the ones that are like, they don't use this style here. They use a like this piece, and then you put another coating across there. The reason I like using that is because these here have a tendency to, once you get them squished down, the coating can break, so you got to be a little careful with that. But usually if I use this tool here, don't see that happen as often. It's a little more gentle than my snap-on, Blue Point snap-on, whichever. I don't remember which one it is. We're gonna go ahead and put another shrink tube across the top of that. Let's get this pulled back. Come on. While we're at it, we're just gonna do this one as well. Save time, save money. All right, get this. Now this connector is a little bit big for these wires because there's not a whole lot of, I mean, these things are pretty small. I think they're like 18s. And my hands are, my arm is starting to cramp because I'm up in this position too long. Then we'll crimp that down. So the medical term for that would be anaerobic metabolism. It's what happens when your body is trying to make energy without oxygen. Also creates a lactic acid buildup, and that's where you get the pain and the cramping. Alright, so let's get this one on there. Crimp it down. Tight. Okay. Now, there's that. Now, how about we make this thing about, I don't know, that much longer? All right, now let's make sure. So dark blue and white. The dark blue will go to pin A, which is this pin right here. So blue, pull that up into there. Grab my wiring pliers. Make sure that's all up in there. Okay, then in pin B, we need the yellow one, which is going to be this one right here. And then, last but not least, the green one should go in this one. Slide that together, crimp it down. Now, see if I can heat these and get them shrunk down without creating a fire. Go ahead and shrink that down. And we'll slide this across there real quickly. Now that thing doesn't have to do more than cover the area that got injured. So it's actually starting to shrink down a little bit because of the heat that's still left there. That's just a double protection. So let's go ahead and slide it up across there real quickly. Come on, don't do this to me. There we go. Now, we can shrink that down and we'll get double protection. All right. Firm little tug, make sure everything's good there. Okay, now let that warm off or cool off just a little bit, and then we'll tape this up real nice and pretty. Come back here. Probably should use some high temperature tape, but I don't have any of that. Should be fine. Should be just perfect. Okay. Now, let's get this up here. Plug that in. That should be good. Like that. So what happens when these go in there, the starters are such tight corners that that wire can get hooked onto the back of the starter as it's going up in there if you're not careful. So just be cautious, be aware of where the back end of that starter is at. Now, I've never had that happen myself, but thanks to you guys on YouTube, I now know. Okay. Get my starter. I'm gonna go ahead and put this starter up in there, and I'll bring you guys back once I get that done. We've got the starter in. We're going to hook up our battery. And let's see if we can get some heat, light, and smoke out of this thing. Preferably from the tailpipe of the engine and not from anywhere in the electrical system. That'd be bad. As a general rule, heat, light, and smoke in the electronics is not good. All right. There we go. Tight. Okay. Will it run? My guess is it probably will, because the crankshaft position sensor activates the pulse of the injectors and the spark. So this thing didn't have any spark or fuel injector pulse. So let's see what happens here. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Let's get this thing outside because it's smelling a little bit. We'll get the scan tool hooked up to it, get this thing off the rack, and we'll get this thing outside. All right, hooking up to the scanner. Well, let's see if this thing's new enough to be able to automatically ID. Oh, come on. It's starting to run a little better. Automatic ID. There we go. Under. No air pump. Alright, let's go with the codes menu. Display codes. All powertrain codes. Alright, so failed this ignition. Nothing failed this ignition, so it's probably from prior. So let's turn the key off and back on. Shut the engine off. Key on, engine off. Yep, I'm sure. Codes cleared successfully. Display codes. All powertrain codes. No codes present. Let's go ahead and get out of this. Runs good. Runs really well. So, let's get this thing down the road. We'll do a little test drive of the old beast. It's about 4 o'clock in the evening. So, yep, we're gonna have a hard time getting out of here. Seriously.
2 hours later.
Let's hit it. Oh, we didn't have to hit it. Runs good. It starts right up. I think this is going to be a confirmed fix. Like I say, I want to thank you guys again for commenting on my YouTube short that I had put out about this thing. There is a good possibility that I would have missed that connector when I would have done the check on that, because I've honestly never had it happen to me, which I don't do very many of these starters, so I've never had that connector have that, or have a connector problem like that. So saved me a lot of time, and I want to thank you guys for that. It's also saves the customer a little bit of money, I guess. So yeah, as always, if you guys see something like that and you think that you can help me out, I always appreciate it. Have absolutely zero problems with you guys letting me know that this is what you've had, or this is what it could be, because it definitely helped me out this time around, and in return also helped the customer. So we would have still looked up through there, but that was a tight enough space that I might have missed that. I don't know. But anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate it. It's what I love about this community. We help each other. Appreciate it. We're gonna call this a confirmed fix. Put it in the finished slot. And as always, I want to thank you guys for being, guys and girls, for being here. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you guys anything to subscribe, and it helps me out a bunch. As always, have yourselves a wonderful day. Until the next time, I'll talk to you later.